My parents abandoned me. Then they decided to come back into my life at one of the most crucial timelines you can imagine. My parents are racist. That was the first thing I thought when they refused to let me see my biological parents after so many years. See, I'm mixed race. My bio mother was born and raised in Mexico. Then, in her early 20s, she came to America and met my biological father, an African American man. On the other hand, my adoptive parents are white. When I was 3 years of age, my parents decided to, quote, abandon me. As my adoptive parents love to remind me of it, I don't remember too much about those years, but according to my adoptive parents, I was a difficult child as I did not behave well and felt uncomfortable around my new family. However, my adoptive parents did not give up on me. They found a therapist, and throughout this month and years, my anger, my behavioral problems just disappeared, and I got along with them. Eventually, I began calling them mom and dad, and their daughter, 2 years older than me, became my sister. After those first years of my life, I relatively had a very good childhood. I went to school, made friends. My grades were kind of average, but I didn't care, and my parents accepted them. Went to vacations with my family, and my parents decided to have 2 more children. So we were 4 kids in the house, and it was loads of fun. I can't really complain about it. However, I'd always had this feeling that something was missing, and even though it was difficult, I found an answer when I was around 14 years of age. My bio parents, for some reason, did not want me, found a new family for me, and never tried to see me again. I started to ask questions, especially to my adoptive mother. I don't want to be ungrateful or make my adoptive parents look bad, but they do not like my biological parents at all. They were very clear about their opinions they held of them. This meant my parents would answer my totally normal questions as an adoptive child, but they would always make sure to use certain words to remind me my bio parents were bad people. Although I did not remember how my bio parents actually treated me or their reasons to leave me, I felt a sense of duty to protect their name, so I would get into an argument with my adoptive parents, and we would always end up angry at each other for a few days. So, when I was 17 years of age, the opportunity to meet my bio parents knocked on my door. I didn't hesitate for a second, but my adoptive parents were not ready for it and did their best to stop it. It all started with phone calls and emails. I did not know who was calling my parents or sending them these emails. Not to mention, I did not know what kind of things were being discussed. But my parents' look in their eyes just gave it away. I could tell they were worried. Sometimes they seemed to be even scared. When my siblings and I asked if there was a problem, our mom's first reaction was to brush it off, as if the people calling and emailing them were nothing to worry about. Our dad would shut our conversation down immediately by saying we're far too young to comprehend the matters of the subject. It's true, we were young, but hey, we weren't dumb. Sadly, days later, I was left on my own. My siblings began to treat me awkwardly as if they felt sorry for me, and suddenly, they were trying to help me with every task I had to do. If it was my turn to take out the trash, one of them would jump up and volunteer. If I wanted to do the dishes after dinner, they would stop me and do it myself. Out of the blue, my sisters would tell me how much they loved me, as well as my brother's new attitude towards me. Gave me the impression as if he was trying to not say anything hurtful. Also, I noticed he halted all his jokes and pranks that he used to do and told me on a daily basis. After the sudden change in the air and my siblings' behavior towards me, plus what previously happened with those calls and emails, I realized there was something fishy going on here. I was involved in it. I got angry. My own family was hiding the information from me as if they needed to shelter me from bad news for the rest of my life. They probably thought I wasn't strong enough to face it. This made our life at home to feel like we were living in a heck. I became a bitter person. Those days I treated my adoptive family very badly. I tried to provoke them by saying rude things. I would turn a simple and innocent question into another question about the emails, phone calls, and change of behavior. They would just simply shut it down every single time and shake their heads or leave the room again without saying a word of what was happening. I honestly just felt angry all the time. But I tried my best to be reasonable, and for a few days, I decided to give another chance to my family, especially to my parents, to be honest with me. So I changed my approach to them. I didn't say any mean words to them, and I wasn't rude. Instead, I asked my parents to sit down and have an honest talk with me. I told them this situation was stressing me out as much as them, but that after all, we were a family and we could figure it out. I expressed my honest feelings. I pointed out their silence was hurting our relationship. What did I get? More silence. Crickets. My dad reassured me he was going to tell me at the right time. My mother told me she needed a few days to think whether it's okay to tell me the truth or not. Well, understandably, I think I got mad. That same night, I made plans to log into my mother's email account. I knew she had kept a small notebook with all her little passwords somewhere hidden in her bedroom. I took every opportunity that I could to sneak in. Every time our parents left the house and was sure my siblings were distracted enough, I would try my best to find the notebook with the passwords. I went to all the drawers and found nothing. The same happened when I checked below the pillows, bed, and mattress. Basically, I looked for it throughout the entire room, but finally found it inside the pocket of an empty suitcase. I took multiple photos of the pages with my phone, then I put it back and left everything exactly as it was. Maybe it's not what a daughter should do. I'm not sure if it was wrong, but I've made up my mind. I needed to know the truth. At night, while everyone in the house was sleeping, I used the family computer to log into my mom's email. So, my mom would not get an alert about something logging into from a different device. When I got in, I just sent the last 50 emails my mother had got to my account. I went to my bedroom and read the emails on my phone, and oh boy, I was not prepared to read those emails. The emails were from my biological parents. I was definitely the main topic. They basically just asked random questions about me, from stuff like how I'm doing, what's my favorite color, and if I was getting ready to go to college. Apparently, my parents answered all their questions, and from what I could read, all 4 of them got along. Until my bio parents asked if they could see me. I guess my adoptive parents said no, because the emails my bio parents sent from then on were very passive-aggressive. They threatened me several times with legal action. I can't put into words how happy I was to read. My bio parents wanted to see me, and were thinking about taking legal action if my adoptive parents refused it. My parents were very naive if they thought they could really stop me from meeting my real parents. Back then, I strongly believed their decision to keep me in the dark about my bio parents and their eagerness to meet with me. It was cruel and coming from a place of bigotry, which made me feel disgusted towards them for a while. But I tried my best to be positive now that I knew what those emails were about. What will my parents do? My 18th birthday was just a few months away anyways, and the next morning I did not say anything to my family because I, in the heat of the moment, had sent a lengthy email to my bio parents, explaining them my situations and feelings, plus I asked them if we could meet that afternoon. I even added a phone number at the end of the email, and at lunchtime I got a text. It was from my bio mother's phone. They've agreed to meet me at a close mall next to the school. And so I went there. I was nervous a bit, all my fingernails, and at moments I got paranoid and thought my adoptive parents were going to appear, or that my bio parents wouldn't even show up. Oh, but they did. The 3 of us were crying, and my bio mother could not stop bombing me with compliments for the first minutes of our encounters. Then we hugged each other, sat down, and began talking more calmly. Even though my mother was still tearing up a little, they were very interested in what I had to say about my adoptive parents. Somehow, I felt they were trying to force me to say bad things about them. It was truly the last few weeks when all of this drama began. I did feel angry about my adoptive parents. But besides this incident, they've been wonderful, so I could not speak in bad faith of them. My biological father repeatedly told me I could move in with them if my adoptive parents were mistreating me. They also were very interested in my future plans. I don't know why, but I found their insistence on the matter weird. I had to admit I made a mistake, because my biological parents were the only ones leading the conversation. My brain seemed to have frozen. When I realized it, the question I had in my heart since I was a little girl just came right out of my mouth. Why did you abandon me and never reach out until now? My mother and father looked at each other for a second, and then my father said, "We did not want to. It was a difficult time." It was not enough. I told them they've been living in the same city as me and that I've always felt sad about how they never tried to contact me, and asked them for a better explanation or I would leave. They were unable to explain it. I suppose they were not expecting something like it. Instead, my mother started to cry again and apologize over and over. I felt bad for her and began thinking this meeting had been a terrible idea because I was not getting the answers I wanted and I just felt trapped. I angrily blurted out, "What do you want from me?" Well, my biological parents did not hold back. They directly told me I should be a better daughter and help them with their house. "What is wrong with the house?" I asked. My mother, while sobbing, told me she wanted me to clean their house, saying it was full of trash and all the dirt was getting overwhelming. My father told me again I could move in with them after I finished cleaning the home, and pleading me to help them because they were not able to find anyone else to do the job, and though that I, as their daughter, should be happy and would not dare say no. I literally looked at them and asked if they were joking. The whole situation was just so ridiculous. I wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. My mother said no. I couldn't believe my ears. This can't be real. I felt as if I was watching myself from my outside body. I quickly stood up and told them I would never do such a thing. I tried to leave them all by walking as quickly as I possibly could, but my father ran after me and basically told me they would not accept a no for an answer. That I was their daughter, and soon the three of us could be a family once again, and the only thing I had to do was clean their house. In his own words, doing the house chores was a way to show my support and the love I had for them. And by doing so, keeping the house tidy for my bio parents was more important than me getting a job or even going to college. I was just a mixed bag of feelings at this point. I felt like a bag of milk. I only wanted to go home and pretended this reunion did not happen. I saw my biological mother walking towards us, and when she got close enough, I expressed my intentions to never, ever contact them again, also asking them to please leave me alone. I did not inform my adoptive parents about anything, but the meeting with my bio parents changed my life for the absolute worse. They didn't stop. No. My mother and father kept sending emails, texts, and calling me. The same night after our horrible reunion, they sent an email telling me how much they loved me and how sad they were to hear that I was leaving. As I did not reply, the next day I got 2 more messages and 3 phone calls, and each day I began to get at least 1 email or text from them. A few times I caved and texted back, asking them to please stop, but it didn't work. Sometimes they wrote they were sorry, but most of the time they hinted at their perception of me, accusing me of just being a selfish daughter or asking me to reconsider their offer. Every night I sat on my bed reading what they wrote to me and feeling anxious about everything. Meanwhile, my adoptive parents looked more relaxed and I barely talked to them. They probably believed I was mad at them, and I believe they were less anxious because my bio parents stopped calling and emailing them. What they do not know is that my bio parents were harassing me. The digital harassment began to get physical when my biological mother appeared in the same bus stop as me one morning. She tried to have a conversation with me and I got scared, and so while she walked up to me, I could only whisper, "I will not talk to you," repeatedly over and over, and she kept standing behind me until my bus came and I left. The same situation happened for 2 weeks straight. Every morning when I arrived at the bus stop to go to school, my bio mother was there, waiting for me. She would try to talk to me, but I would say no, no, no. And she sometimes would say, "I'll be waiting here until you want to be a good daughter. You just have to come to the house and clean." And sometimes she would not say anything, she would just stand there. The emails and text messages kept coming in, and I felt as if I was going crazy. That's why I decided to tell everything to my adoptive parents. When I told them the truth of what I've done to get the emails from my mom's account, the reunion I had with my bio parents behind their backs, the offer to become a maid for my bio parents, and the harassment I was facing. My adoptive parents were horrified. I apologized and I confessed. I was too anxious and just wanted all the situation to stop. My adoptive parents immediately took me to the police station and began the progress to get a restraining order against my bio parents. This is where my story gets dark and weird, however you would like to see it. Given that the emails and text messages were not, quote, threatening enough, at first, they would not grant me a restraining order. But turns out, my bio parents had a long history of harassment, cyberstalking, and even abuse. My biological mother got arrested one time for breaking a restraining order against a former coworker, then arrested again for trying to follow a former friend to his house against his will. The child abuse part involves my own younger brother. My parents had another child, a boy 7 years younger than me, and he was taken by the CPS for living in unclean conditions and being extremely malnourished. They served a few months in jail for this case, by the way. The judge considered their past behavior and granted me the restraining order I desperately pleaded for. I and my family were relieved. I felt like I could breathe again, and everything seemed to go back to normal for about a month. I seriously thought they would not try again, and well, they did it. I was on my way walking out of my school and saw them at the parking lot. I got nervous, but I called the school security guards. My bio parents got themselves arrested. I still don't know what they were thinking, if they're thinking at all. The whole situation was messy, and there's days I regret and think, and I shouldn't have logged into my mom's email that one night. But even if it sounds harsh, I feel lucky. I didn't have to grow up with my bio parents. Alright, so this just was a twisted story. I would like to know from you guys, what would you have done if you were in this unique position and your biological parents were trying to force themselves back into your life? Sure, at first it might have sounded like a good idea, but things start to get drastically worse and worse. Tell me your exact plan of action, guys. Drop your comments down below. I hope you enjoyed today's content. Let me know about it in the comment section, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, just take a second right now and smash that subscribe button, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.